Imagine a world where basic human rights were denied because of the color of your skin. A world where segregation and oppression were woven into the fabric of society. This was America in the 1950s and 60s. But amid the darkness, a group of visionary leaders emerged, their voices rising against injustice, their actions sparking a revolution. Who were these trailblazers? And what drove them to risk everything for equality? Historical context. The 1865 ratification of the 13th Amendment legally ended slavery in the United States, but was only the beginning of a new era of oppression for African Americans. The South, in particular, became a hotbed of violence and racism, enforced by Jim Crow laws that institutionalized segregation. By the 1950s, African Americans had endured nearly a century of inequality, segregation, and brutal violence. But a new dawn was approaching. A group of determined activists was ready to fight back, to reclaim their dignity and their rights. Activist 1. Martin Luther King, Jr. One of the most iconic figures of the civil rights movement was Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., known for his powerful speeches and unwavering commitment to nonviolent protest. King led monumental events like the Montgomery bus boycott and the 1963 March on Washington. His I Have a Dream speech remains one of the most stirring calls for justice in history. King's approach was grounded in the belief that injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere, a principle he famously penned from a Birmingham jail cell. Despite being imprisoned nearly 30 times and facing constant threats, King's resolve never wavered. Tragically, his life was cut short by an assassin's bullet in 1968. Yet his legacy endures, inspiring generations to continue the fight for equality. Activist 2. Malcolm X. In stark contrast to King's philosophy of nonviolence stood Malcolm X, a fiery orator who advocated for self-defense by any means necessary. Malcolm's journey from a troubled youth to a prominent spokesman for the Nation of Islam showcased his radical transformation. After leaving the Nation of Islam in 1964 and converting to traditional Islam, Malcolm X's views evolved towards a more inclusive approach to civil rights. However, his life was also tragically cut short when he was assassinated in 1965. Malcolm X's legacy is complex, but his impact on the civil rights movement and his call for Black empowerment remain pivotal in American history. Activist 3. Rosa Parks. Rosa Parks, often called the mother of the civil rights movement, ignited the Montgomery bus boycott by refusing to give up her seat to a white man in 1955. Her act of defiance became a powerful symbol of resistance against racial injustice. Parks' courage led to a year-long boycott that ultimately ended with a Supreme Court ruling declaring bus segregation unconstitutional. Despite losing her job and facing threats, Parks continued her activism, working with leaders like Dr. King and Congressman John Conyers. Activist 4. John Lewis. John Lewis, a champion of nonviolent protest, began his activism as a student, organizing sit-ins at segregated lunch counters. As chairman of the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee (SNCC), Lewis became a key figure in the Freedom Rides and the historic March on Washington. On Bloody Sunday in 1965, Lewis led marchers across the Edmund Pettus Bridge in Selma, Alabama, where they were brutally attacked by state police. The horrific images of that day galvanized national support for the Voting Rights Act of 1965. Activist 5. Bayard Rustin. Bayard Rustin, a close advisor to Dr. King, was a master strategist who played a crucial role in organizing the Montgomery bus boycott and the 1963 March on Washington. Rustin, who introduced King to Gandhi's principles of nonviolence, was also a passionate advocate for LGBTQ rights. Despite facing discrimination for his sexuality, Rustin's contributions to the civil rights movement were invaluable, helping to shape its nonviolent tactics and strategic direction. Activist 6. James Farmer. James Farmer, a key figure in the Congress of Racial Equality Corps, orchestrated the 1961 Freedom Rides, challenging segregation in interstate travel. Farmer's adherence to Gandhi's principles of nonviolent resistance often placed him at the forefront of dangerous confrontations. Farmer's leadership in Corps was instrumental in some of the most pivotal moments of the civil rights movement, pushing the boundaries of protest and forcing America to confront its racial injustices. Activist 7. Hosea Williams. After surviving a brutal attack for using a whites-only water fountain, Hosea Williams became a staunch activist, joining the Southern Christian Leadership Conference (SCLC). Williams played a critical role in organizing voter registration drives and was a leader in the infamous Selma to Montgomery marches. His relentless pursuit of justice saw him continue Dr. King's mission even after witnessing King's assassination, further cementing his place in the annals of civil rights history. Activist 8. Whitney Young Jr. Whitney Young Jr., as the executive director of the National Urban League, worked tirelessly to integrate corporate workplaces and government services. His efforts extended to advising President Lyndon B. Johnson on racial issues and influencing federal poverty programs. Young's pragmatic approach to civil rights, focusing on economic empowerment and equal opportunities, earned him a place as one of the movement's key strategists and advocates. Activist 9. Roy Wilkins. Roy Wilkins, a long-serving leader of the NAACP, played a significant role in landmark civil rights victories, including Brown v. Board of Education and the passage of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. Wilkins believed in achieving reform through legislation, tirelessly testifying before Congress and advising presidents. His dedication to legal and political avenues of reform helped secure some of the most crucial advancements in the fight for civil rights. These incredible leaders, through their bravery, vision, and unwavering commitment, reshaped America. Their legacies remind us that the fight for justice and equality is far from over. They lit the torch of freedom, and it is up to us to carry it forward. Remember their names. Continue their fight. Thank you for watching. If you found this video inspiring, please like, share, and subscribe for more stories of courage and change.